The Curse of the Midnight Unicorn. It was the night of the full moon when a group of friends found themselves at the edge of the woods. A social hiking day they didn't want to end had led them to extend their time together and venture off track. The mist had crept in from the mountains around them, swirling in eerie patterns as it clung to the trees like a shroud. The teens, suddenly drawn closer together by a tale of an ancient, forgotten maze hidden deep within the forest, and a strange creature that waited for anyone who became lost. They had no idea what they were about to face. Kayla, the leader of the group, was often the brave one. She had read about the labyrinth in a dusty old book at the local library, about the tormented unicorn that roamed its endless twists and turns. It was said that anyone who ventured into the maze would be relentlessly hunted by the creature, unable to escape its pursuit until the very end. "Come on, it's just a story. What could go wrong?" Kayla said, smirking as she led the group deep into the forest and towards the crumbling stone archway that marked the entrance to the maze. "I don't know, Kayla. This place gives me the creeps," muttered Ethan, the skeptic, always quick to joke about the paranormal. "What's the worst that could happen, though? Maybe none of us make it out alive." A cold wind shuddered through the trees, sending a shiver down their spines. "Whatever happens, we stick together," Kayla said, though her voice lacked the usual confidence she had. There was something about the maze that unsettled her too, something she couldn't quite put her finger on. Maybe it was the strange markings etched into the stonework at the entrance point. They stepped through and into the darkness to begin with, their flashlights cutting through the gloom, casting strange shadows that danced on the walls of the narrow, crumbling corridors. The air grew damp and soggy, and the ground beneath them seemed to shift with every step, as though the maze itself was alive and changing their direction. "Look at these walls," said Mia, Kayla's best friend, her voice tremulous. "They're covered in scratch marks." She pointed to the jagged lines that ran up and down the stone. "Old carvings," Kayla shrugged, "probably from explorers who got lost and never returned." Kayla was trying to ease the situation with humor, but it didn't work. But it wasn't the walls that made their blood run cold. It was the sound, the distant, echoing clip-clop of hooves, faint at first, then growing louder with every step they took. They all realized they had walked so far into the maze that they were unable to trace their steps back to the entrance, and the walls had become too high to scale or climb. Ethan stopped, his face pale. "You see that?" A large, overpowering shadow passed across the walls. The hairs on the back of their necks stood up. From the dark, a pair of sinister, glowing eyes appeared, followed by a silhouette of something much taller than them. Something with a long, sharp, spiraling horn. The creature was a ghostly, mysterious unicorn, but not like any they had ever imagined in fairy tales. Its coat was black as midnight, its mane twisted and wild like a tempest. Blood-red eyes locked onto them, a malicious gleam burning in its stare. The unicorn's horn shimmered with an eerie, unnatural light, and it pawed at the ground as if preparing to charge. Before anyone could react, the creature lunged forward, its hooves pounding the stone, the sound vibrating through the floor. It was faster than any horse, its speed almost supernatural. They all screamed and sprinted, and had no time to think, but the unicorn was relentless. Its gaze followed them no matter where they ran. "Split up!" Kayla shouted, her voice breaking. "We have to lose it." But the maze was a labyrinth, twisting and turning, with no clear path to follow. Each turn only brought them deeper into its heart, where the air grew evil and jagged. Every time they thought they had found an exit, they were led straight back into the same dark corridor. The feeling in their stomachs was sickening. The unicorn's hooves never stopped echoing, always just a step behind, constantly stalking them with no emotions at all. Kayla found herself alone. Her heart pounded in her chest as she dashed around another corner, her breath ragged. She could hear it now, closer than ever. Clip, clop, and then the unmistakable sound of a screeching cry, like a battle cry from a creature in pain. A low growl sounded behind her. She could hear its hot breath clashing with the chilly, choking air. She spun around. There it was. The unicorn stood at the end of a narrow pathway, blocking her way. It was no longer just a creature of legend. It was real, huge, and it was here to kill. Kayla, Ethan's voice echoed through the maze, distant, faint. She turned back, but the maze was an impossible matrix of dead ends and traps, all twisting in on themselves like some cruel trick. The unicorn's eyes burned into her, and it was coming closer. She had no choice. She just couldn't think straight and ran directly at the creature. It reared up, hooves striking the air, but in that moment she leapt sideways, tumbling down a small slope into an old hidden chamber. Kayla gasped for breath. Her body scraped and bruised from the fall, but the creature was right behind her. It hovered over her, its dark form swallowing the light. The unicorn's breath was hot against her neck, and in that moment, Kayla knew. The maze wasn't just a place of myths. It was a trap, a prison designed to keep anyone who entered from ever escaping. And now it had her. She couldn't move. The last thing she heard was the sound of its hooves scraping the stone as the creature prepared to strike and impale her. The others never saw her again. They were left to think about how her fate ended. They each searched the maze for hours, but the walls seemed to close in on them at every turn, each step deeper into the trap. And just as Kayla had fallen, so too did they, one by one, lost forever to the maze. Their screams echoed through the endless corridors, never to be heard by anyone. And to this day, the maze has never been seen again. Explorers have tried to find it, but nothing is ever found, just thick, dense forest. But the legend has it that the maze is out there somewhere, hiding its secrets, waiting. And the midnight unicorn still roams the labyrinth, its red eyes glowing in the darkness, hunting for anyone who happens to enter, especially teens on school hiking trips. No one ever leaves, no one is ever found, not even